I just wanted to share my experience with this in case anyone else is considering it. I have had it in my home long enough to stop being in the honeymoon phase and start noticing the real stuff, like what I actually use, what I ignore, what gets annoying, and what ends up being worth it in daily life. For me, a chair like this is for people who come home with a tired back, tight shoulders, or heavy legs and do not want to think too hard about how to recover. I sit at a desk for long stretches, and I also do a decent amount of lifting and chores on weekends. I wanted something I could use for 10 to 20 minutes without driving anywhere or scheduling anything. It is also the kind of thing other people in the house will try, and then you learn fast whether it is actually practical or just a big object that sits there. What makes this one stand out in day-to-day use is that it does not just work on your back. It is set up to cover your neck, shoulders, mid-back, lower back, and then it keeps going under you toward the upper legs. It also squeezes your arms and legs with air cushions, and it has rollers under your feet. That combination matters more than any single feature because soreness is not always in one place. On days when my back feels fine but my calves are cooked from walking, I can focus on legs and feet. On days when my shoulders are the problem, I can lean into that. In my living room, it looks like a serious piece of equipment, but it is not as visually loud as I worried it would be. The finish on mine is black and it wipes clean easily. The padding feels thick, and when you sit down it kind of closes around you in a way that makes you want to stay put. The arm areas are rounded and supportive. The head area is cushioned enough that I can relax my neck without trying to find the perfect angle with a pillow. Build-wise, it feels heavy and stable. Nothing rattles when it is running. The moving parts sound like what you would expect from a chair with motors and rollers, but it does not sound strained. It is not silent, though. If someone is watching television in the same room, you will notice it. If you are playing music while using it, the chair noise fades into the background. Setup is the part that made me sweat a little. This is not something I would want to carry upstairs with one person. I needed help getting it into position. Once it is placed, daily use is easy. I do not move it often, but when I have to shift it a little, the built-in wheels help. Still, it is one of those things where you plan the spot first, because you will not want to keep rearranging your room around it. When I start a session, the chair does a body scan. I was skeptical the first time because that can sound like a gimmick. In practice, it helps because it finds where my shoulders and upper back are, and it adjusts the roller path so it hits the spots it should. I am average height, and it lines up well for me most of the time. I also had a family member try it who is taller than me, and it adapted better than I expected. It is not perfect every single time, but it reduces the amount of fiddling I would otherwise do. The zero-gravity recline is not something I thought I would care about, and now it is what I use the most. When it leans you back and lifts your legs, the pressure on my lower back changes right away. It feels like my spine gets a break. If I use the chair sitting more upright, it can still feel good, but the recline position is where I actually notice my breathing slow down and my shoulders drop. I usually run it like that at night, especially after a long day at my desk. The massage itself feels closer to hands than I expected from a chair. The rollers can knead, tap, and roll in ways that are genuinely useful. The neck and shoulder area is the make or break zone for me. When it is aligned right, it hits that tight band between my shoulder blade and spine that I am always trying to stretch out. When it is slightly off, it can feel like it is working next to the spot I want. On those days, I take a few seconds to adjust the position, and it usually fixes it. The air cushion pressure is another thing I use a lot, mostly on arms, hips, and calves. The squeezing motion is not the same as a deep tissue massage, but it helps with that tired, heavy feeling, especially in the legs. There are multiple pressure levels. I keep it around the middle most days. If I crank it too high, it can feel a little aggressive on my forearms, depending on how I am positioned. The foot rollers are strong. If you like a deep foot massage, you will probably be happy. If your feet are sensitive, you might need to ease into it. I learned quickly that wearing socks changes the whole experience. Barefoot, it can be too intense for me on certain settings. With socks, it feels firm but manageable. After a long day, the foot and calf section is the part that makes me go, okay, I get why people buy these. There is also a stretch program that moves your body and extends your legs a bit while it supports your upper body. I did not think I would use that much. Now I use it when my lower back feels compressed or when I wake up stiff. It is not a replacement for real stretching habits, but it does help me feel less tight. The heat function is centered around the lower back. I would not describe it as blazing hot. It is more like a steady warmth you notice after a minute. On colder days, it makes the session feel more comfortable, and it helps my lower back loosen up faster. When my back is already irritated, the heat plus a lighter massage setting feels better than going hard with rollers. In real life, I do not scroll through every program. I found a few that match how I feel on different days and I stick to them. If I am sore from lifting, I use a stronger setting for back and legs. If I am just mentally drained, I use a lighter setting with more slow rolling and less intense kneading. Most sessions for me land around 15 minutes. If I go longer, it can start to feel like too much stimulation, especially on the feet. Controls are straightforward. I can start a program quickly without reading a manual every time. The chair also supports voice control. I will be honest, it is helpful when it works, but it did not work perfectly for me at the beginning. Sometimes it did not catch my command, and I had to repeat myself. After some time, it has been more consistent, but I still treat it as optional. I usually use the physical controls because it is faster and I know it will respond. There is a phone app support piece here too, and in my routine it is more of a convenience than a requirement. I tried it, it connected, and it gave me another way to choose programs and adjust settings. Once I learned what I like, I did not feel the need to use my phone every time. Still, it is nice when I am already on the couch and want to set things up without reaching for the controller. The built-in speaker is a small detail that I ended up appreciating. I do not use it for serious listening, but for a podcast-style talk show, calm music, or a guided breathing track, it works. Having audio right near your head makes it easier to tune out the mechanical sounds of the chair. Now for the limitations I noticed. The chair takes up real space. Even if it fits your room, you need to be okay with seeing it every day. It is also heavy enough that you do not casually move it around. Another thing is that the massage intensity can be a lot if you go too strong too fast. If you are new to massage chairs, I think it is smarter to start on lighter settings for the first week, because your body might be surprised by how targeted it can feel. I also noticed that alignment is not perfect every single session. The body scan helps, but sometimes I shift during the massage and the neck area lands a little high or low. When that happens, I pause and adjust, and it is fine. It is just not completely set and forget. Long-term, cleaning has been simple. I wipe it down with a soft cloth. The material has held up well so far, and it still looks clean even with regular use. In my house, it gets used more than I expected. I use it after work. On weekends, I use it after yard work or lifting. Other people in my home ended up using it too, which is usually the real test for something like this. It is not just me trying to justify a purchase. It became part of the routine. Overall, I see this chair as a practical tool for recovery and relaxation at home. It is not magic, and it is not going to fix underlying issues by itself, but it does help me feel looser, less stiff, and more comfortable, especially in my back, calves, and feet. The zero-gravity recline is the feature I come back to, and the combination of rollers, air pressure, foot massage, and heat covers most of what I want on a normal day. I will leave detailed information about the RELX 2025 full-body zero-gravity massage chair in the comments for your reference. Thank you for watching.